So I'm going to guide us through a meditation similar to one I've been doing in my life lately, just sitting in the sun. So meditation on being with the sense of the sun. In other words, feeling the heat, feeling the presence of the sun. What I've been doing is either if I take a break, I go outside, sitting on a bench or going for a walk, or finding an area in my house where the sun is creeping through the window. And it's always a different spot depending on what time of day it is. So right now I'm sitting in the corner of my room actually happens to be a chair right in this one spot where the sun is coming through. So I'm sitting in the chair. But the other day there's also a bed in this room. The sun was hitting the corner of the bed. So I set up my meditation cushion on the corner of the bed. And then the other day, besides that, the sun was coming through the window in the center of the wooden floor, so I set up blankets on the floor. So I'm just kind of following where the sun is at any given moment and sitting with it. And my wife came by the other day. She said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm sitting in the sun." And she gave me this look like, okay. But I watched Bob Ross a lot. All of his stuff's on YouTube for those of you who don't know. But I watched Bob Ross and he says things like, go outside and sit down, set up a chair, have a nice glass of iced tea and sit down and talk to a tree. He paints landscapes. He's talking about getting to know trees, and then he always references that's a little weird, but it's okay because painters are supposed to be weird. And we can say the same thing here. There may be some naysayers, or some people casting judgment if we're sitting in the middle of if we're at work on our break and we find the corner of a room where the sun is and we're sitting in it. Some people might think it's weird, but that's okay. We're meditators. We're supposed to be weird. And if we can learn to not judge ourselves for it, that's part of the practice. So if you're unable to find a space now that has sun, you might want to pause this and come back later and commit a time where you have 10 minutes to sit with the sun. But if you are able to do that now, finding that space, you can pause the audio and find that space. Or if you're already in a place where the sun is shining, then here you are. So just taking our seat. And I don't mean that literally. You can be standing or even walking. But when I say taking our seat, I mean being here now. Ram Dass wrote a book called Be Here Now. I have to admit, I've listened to a lot of his teachings. I've never read that book in particular. But he speaks about that a lot in his teachings. And I think I get the sense of what the book is about just from the title. Doing so now. Be here now. And feeling the sun. The giver of life. There'd be no life without this source of energy. Feeling the heat. For me, it's just on the right side of my face and upper body. Feeling the sun wherever it is, gracing you. And just because we're focusing on the sun, it doesn't mean we can't also have other experiences. In fact, we will inevitably have other experiences. I hear cars passing, sounds, sensations. You might be hungry or thirsty or tired, whatever. all these other things. There might be thoughts, emotions, but as Jon Kabat-Zinn says, featuring center stage, this being with the sun. And for the sake of this being a guided meditation, I'll say more words, but I could stop here. In fact, you could tune me out here if you wanted to, because there's really nothing more to it. It's just being here, now, with the senses, being with this presence. Sitting in the sun. You can experiment with interacting with the sun. If your eyes are closed, you can turn your head towards and away from the sun and notice the difference in the experience on the inside of your eyelids. And if you're turning your head towards and away, feeling the heat, the light hitting different parts of your face. Coming again to stillness. And just being here. Nothing more. You might have thoughts about the sun, thoughts about the practice. But for now, staying close to the experience. Feeling the light, feeling the heat. Nothing to do with this experience. So, as this episode comes to an end, you can continue to sit in the sun for as long as you wish beyond this recording. And also maybe deciding that there will be 5-10 minutes in your day when you want to do this. Finding where the sun is shining and sitting with it. And you may use the recording or you may not. But this is just one way in which we can tune in.